The film starts from the year 1999. At the start we are shown our main character Thomas Anderson. He works in a software company. Also, this story revolves around this Thomas. In addition, Thomas is a skilled hacker in his life spent alone at home. In that place, he is known as Neo. Anyway, Neo always has a funny scene about something like a strange simulation world called the Matrix. But he never got to know what it was. One day while Neo was working on his computer, someone hacked his computer and sent a message telling him to follow the white rabbit. But before Neo can think about what it is, someone knocks on the door. When he opened the door, a group of rascals came to buy something illegal from him. But Neo is scared and curious about that message at this time. So, seeing Neo's troubled face, this set talks to Neo to go have some fun too, but Neo refuses, saying that he has some work to do. But unexpectedly, after seeing that one of the girls here has a tattoo of a white rabbit on her hand, Neo says that he would like to come with them. Later, while Neo is going to a nightclub with this group, he meets a girl named Trinity there. It was Trinity who sent the message asking him to hack his computer and follow the white rabbit. So Thomas, who is very curious, asks Neo to explain what he said. But the Trinity does not answer. But instead, your life is in danger at this time, and you are told to be vigilant where you are. As curious as he was, that was all Neo would learn from Trinity at this point. So Neo remembers what he said well and decides to go home again. The next day, while Neo is doing his job, he receives a courier parcel. When you open it, there is a phone inside. But before you can even think about where you got this from, this phone receives a call from someone named Morpheus. Cole took it to warn you that a team is coming to arrest you. As said, 3 people have already come to this office to find him. But why is this happening? What is happening? Neo is very confused at this time. However, Morpheus, who is still on the line, tells Neo to escape from here quickly and tells him how to escape. But Neo can't escape from the tangled situation he's in. With that, the set comes and arrests Neo. In the next scene, they take Neo for questioning and say that Neo has broken every cyber law in the country. Here, as an agent named Smith says, Neo can be sentenced to life imprisonment, but he himself also tells a way to escape from that sentence. That is to help these agents catch the guy called Morpheus who spoke to Neo earlier. According to this agent Smith, the most dangerous terrorist alive is called Morpheus. However, Neo does not like what Smith is saying here and says that he needs to talk to his lawyer. But then Smith says that if you can't speak a word, there is no point in talking to the lawyer. As said, Neo's mouth, which had started to kiss, disappeared in an unimaginable way at this moment. At the same time, the other 2 agents here hold Neo and press him to the table, take a strange machine and send a strange robotic animal like a shrimp into Neo's stomach. Anyway, this group of agents is a group with strange abilities. They can run in any direction without any effort, they can easily jump over 2 buildings with many doors, and here too, they have lost their way in an unimaginable way. That's how unimaginable a group of agents are. But who are they really? How do they have such abilities? Let's see what happens. In the next second, Neo wakes up from his room and begins to wonder if everything that happened before was a dream. But before he can think about it further, he gets a call from Morpheus who promises to answer all of Neo's questions and tells him to come to Adam's Bridge as soon as possible. Neo doesn't like it right away, but after thinking for a while, he finally decides to go there. After Neo goes there, Trinity and 2 others come and put Neo in a car. But as soon as he got up, someone pointed a gun at Neo and told him to take off his shirt, much to Neo's dismay. Neo is very confused by that, but looking at the way they say, Neo has to do this. Even though he is hesitant, in the end Neo likes it and takes off his shirt while they have a strange machine on Neo's stomach. Trinity then scans something from it and pulls out the device that the agents put inside their stomach. That means what we saw earlier was not a dream, but something that actually happened. Later, while the 3 of them take Neo to the building where he left him, Neo finally meets Morpheus there. After meeting, this mysterious man tells Neo that the answer you have been searching for all your life cannot be explained in words. According to Morpheus, the answer to what the Matrix is can only be known if you experience it. Also, Morpheus warns that if you want to know the answer, you have to go to a place where you can never come back. Then Morpheus gives Neo 2 red and blue pills and tells him to choose one of the 2. If he drinks this blue pill, Neo can forget all this and go back to his old life. That means that the fact that Morpheus and Trinity met like this is forgotten. Otherwise, if you drink the red pill, you can know what the Matrix is and what is going on. Anyway, after talking for a while, Neo decides to find out the truth of all this and chooses the red pill. But during these things, Neo sees something very strange. That is, the broken mirror on the other side of Neo turns into an unbroken mirror in an unimaginable way. What happened was unimaginable. Therefore, Neo, who is very confused, decides to touch the mirror. But in an unimaginable way, the mirror gets infected with Neo's skin and starts spreading all over his body. Meanwhile, Morpheus' team tries to find something on the monitor. But before Neo knew what was happening, Neo was covered by what was transmitted from that mirror and finally Neo blacked out. Later, Neo regains consciousness from inside a pink fetus. Apparently, he has been stuck here for so long. It means that Neo is controlled from here. After a while, Neo came out of a pod. Shockingly, Neo was there and hundreds of thousands of other pods were visible. Also, hundreds of thousands of people are trapped in each of those pods. Before long, a robot who saw Neo moving quickly came to Neo and removed Neo from these wires and put him in a ditch below. But while it's full of water, Neo can't seem to swim. But before Neo drowns here too, a hovercraft comes and pulls Neo up. Fortunately for Neo, Neo is not taken anywhere else, and Neo is now in a plane belonging to Morpheus. And here are the people who work with Morpheus, including Morpheus and Trinity. But just like us, Neo is in a state of not being able to imagine what happened, how he suddenly emerged from a pod. The situation is so bad that Neo is losing his mind here. But before losing consciousness, Morpheus says that he welcomes you to the real world. Neo has lived inside that pod all his life until today. That's why Neo's muscles are all wasted. In addition, it is difficult for Neo to open his eyes and look around. Because Neo has never used his real eyes before. Because of this, Morpheus and his crew spend the remaining weeks treating Neo. What is really going on? Where are they now? Where were they before? What are these strange things that are happening? Let's see what happens in the film. After a few weeks, one day Neo comes to his senses. By now, Neo is fully clothed. In addition, it has been a long time that even the hair grows a little. Then Morpheus comes here and says that we are now inside the plane of Morpheus called Nebuchadnezzar. Not only that, this is not the year 1999 as Neo and other people thought, it is also said that this is the year 2199. Later, Morpheus takes Neo around the plane and introduces them to Epic, Cypher, Mouse and two other brothers who are working on it, Tank and Dozer. Then to explain to Neo what is happening, a jack-like stick is connected to the port on the back of Neo's head. In the next second, Neo and Morpheus emerge from a world of white, all around them. In this emerging world, Neo's hair has grown completely, even the ports that were attached to the body have disappeared. When you look at it, it looks like a white world. They are inside a computer simulation. And this simulation can change anything around it in any way. If you look at it that way, the two chairs and the TV in front of these two are not real, they are things generated in the simulation. Later, Morpheus shows Neo some videos of an advanced modern world from the TV here. This is the world that Neo has lived in for so long. But if you really look at it, it is not a real world. That world is a computer simulation. That's called the Matrix, and then Morpheus shows us how the world really is today. Looking at the current world, it is a completely empty, dark, desolate and destroyed world. What has happened is that in the 20th century, there has been a fierce war between humans and AI machines. At that time, AI machines were powered by solar energy. Because of that, thinking that AI machines have been defeated, people have decided to use technology to cover the sky so that the sun will not shine. Along with that, the 120-volt electricity and 25,000 BTU body heat generated by the human body have been used as electricity by these AI machines since then. However, as time went by, the AI machines did not get enough power from the existing humans and started to cultivate humans. But besides cultivating in this way, they also need a way to control people. With that, they put people in those pink pods and made a computer simulation like the real world at that time and connected people together. Then none of these people know what is happening in the real world, because they live in a simulation. With that, AI can easily control humans, but now this plane where Morpheus and his crew live is in the real world. Then they are the only group of people living freely in this world. And their citizenship is related to a city called Zion. Looking at it, it is the last city of people in this world, but it is also hidden and underground. Anyway, in this way, Morpheus and his team are going to do this, to destroy the current AI dictatorship and save people and make this a free world. But to do that, there must be the savior of this world here. According to Morpheus, it was none other than that. Neo will be the savior to save this. Who are the agents who came to arrest Neo while he was working in the office? They are the ones who have been appointed to control the chaotic things happening inside the Matrix. Actually, they are right if they call it a machine program. That means they can change into any human body at any time. That said, it is not a scene where the body is changed. Here is a scene where anyone can change and appear as representatives. As shown in the film, there are only 3 agents. All 3 of them can appear in any body at any time. However, the most fortunate thing is that the savior of this world is Morpheus. Otherwise, if they know that the savior is Neo, they will never send Neo back alive. Also, because they think that the savior is Morpheus, they use Neo to find Morpheus. When these things happen in the simulation, in the real world, there are some robots that operate automatically called sentinels. What they do is to remove the people who are about to wake up from that pod and the currently dead people from the pods and put them in the garbage drains below like they put Neo. After all these revelations, Neo can't imagine what the hell is going to happen. Because living in a simulation for years is unimaginable. With that, it is really unimaginable to see such a big change within a short period of time. So with that, Neo has a seizure again, this time he also vomits and loses consciousness. Anyway, after a while, after Neo regains consciousness, using computer simulation, taekwondo, drunken boxing, kung fu and many other martial arts are inserted into Neo's brain. You don't need to do anything to learn all this: run, jump, practice. It's just like installing a game on a computer. Anyway, even Morpheus is amazed by Neo's skills after loading the fighting techniques into Neo's brain. But then Neo tells an unexpected story. At this time, Morpheus tells Neo that Neo is the savior who will save the world, even though we have known for so long. And it is told to Morpheus that she is a soothsayer, someone who predicts the future. Next, Morpheus takes Neo to a simulation made by them like the Matrix and teaches him how to free his mind and jump from one building to another. If you enter this simulation, it will not be a problem if you fall down. But when entering the Matrix, if he falls down and dies in the real world, Balapala will die in the real world. On the same day, in the real world, a robot named Sentinel will find Morpheus' plane and try to destroy it, but before that, Morpheus has to escape them. The next day, Morpheus, Trinity, Epic, Switch, Mouse, Cypher, and Neo find the Prophet going into the Matrix. But before they enter the Matrix and leave for their destination, Cypher puts his phone in a trash can. It looks like Cypher is going to do something sneaky. Anyway, while the group that doesn't put it in goes to the destination and goes to the fortune teller's house, it seems that he is someone with a really strange ability. Because even the children he has made can do strange things inside this Matrix. Anyway, after giving him to the prophetess, Neo surprisingly says that Neo is not the savior of this world. One day soon, Neo will have a big decisive moment, where Neo will have to choose between his life or Morpheus's life. Later, when the group is about to go back to the real world, some agents surround them where they came from. Looking at it, the Cypher team has given up. He has done so after fighting for humanity, foolishly deciding to live inside the Matrix once again, but there is no turning back after being around the real world. And with that, the agents promise to send Cypher back into the Matrix. But according to the agents, in order for Cypher to get it, they have to capture Morpheus. Anyway, with what Cypher did, Mouse has to die here, while the others try to escape from this building through the walls. Escape means that once they enter the Matrix, there is a way to get out of it. That is, the tank Matrix inside the plane sends a call to the land phone inside. After saying hello to that call, the caller comes from the Matrix to the real body inside the plane. So, as said, our group starts running away from the building along the walls. But before long, the agent named Smith learns the way they escape and where they are now, and tries to subdue the group by changing into the body of someone there. But before that, Morpheus jumps forward to fight Smith. He does this to make time for the rest of the group to escape to the plane. Because if that is not the case, everything that has been done for so long will be wasted. Besides, Morpheus thinks Neo is the savior, so Morpheus doesn't care what happens. But as the prophetess said, there is a big problem here. Anyway, with the sacrifice made by Morpheus, the rest of the group will be able to escape from here. But Cypher somehow gets into the real body of the plane before the team can play any game, and as soon as he comes back, the tank and Dozer on the plane are shot and killed. After that, Cypher is now trying to remove the wires from the rest of the team. Because if they get disconnected from the simulation before they come to the real world, they will actually die, but luckily the tank is not dead. So, before Cypher's team can remove the wires, the tank comes and finishes Cypher off. In the next scene, Agent Smith begins questioning Morpheus about Zion while Trinity and Neo are safely back on board. With that, Tank is afraid that Morpheus will reveal their secrets and asks to remove the wire connected to Morpheus' head. But before Tank can do that, Neo jumps in and says, "Don't disconnect Morpheus, I will go and save him." Because at this time he remembers those two stories told by the prophetess. Those are the two stories where Neo is not the savior and Neo has to choose between Morpheus and Neo's life at one point. With that, Neo decides to sacrifice his life at this time and save Morpheus for the sake of the future world. When Neo decides like this, Trinity, who is clear about her determination, decides to go with Neo without leaving her alone. More peace. However, at this time, Trinity is very confident that Neo is the true savior. The same goes for Morpheus. But according to the prophetess, it is not like that. But let's see what happens. So with the decision taken by the two to save Morpheus, armed with many weapons, they go to the building where Morpheus is locked, kill all the guards and soldiers at the entrance and enter the elevator. After that, climb on top of the elevator and connect it to the hanging cables and separate the cables near the elevator in such a way that both of them are pulled up. With that, the lift descends and explodes, and then a set of police officers under agents on the roof starts attacking these two. But after a long fight, finally these two are able to defeat the police and board a helicopter here. After that, the two go directly from the helicopter to the deck where Morpheus is trapped and start shooting at the agents there. With that, Morpheus gets a chance to escape from here and jump to the chopper. But before that, an agent's shot hits Morpheus in the leg and Morpheus is unable to escape properly and falls to the ground. But luckily, Neo jumps down from the helicopter and grabs Morpheus by tying a belt. However, an agent who was watching this shoots at the helicopter and the helicopter starts to fall. But somehow Neo and Morpheus are able to escape into a building in order to control the Trinity helicopter. But the helicopter is now in a state of collapsing. However, Neo is still with the belt attached to the helicopter. Because it was there, Trinity was able to save her life by hanging on to that belt before the helicopter crashed. Anyway, after all three survived the incident, Morpheus went to Neo and said that you are the real savior. But this time Neo says that he is not the savior as the prophetess said. But according to Morpheus, it is not like that. Because at that time, the fortune teller told Neo what Neo expected, not who Neo really is. After this, the three quickly enter a sub and go to the telephone box to go to the real world. From the call, Morpheus and Trinity go to the real world first, but then Agent Smith comes and shoots the phone, so Neo doesn't have to go to the real world. So he decides to fight against Agent Smith this time, resulting in a big fight between the two and they continue to fight as equals. But at the last moment, Smith waits for a train and decides to hit Neo on the train. But before the train approaches and crashes, Neo somehow attacks Smith and jumps out of the train track. With that, Smith finally crashes into the train. But unfortunately, this time too, Smith changes into the body of someone on the train and starts following Neo once again. Meanwhile, the Sentinel robots start attacking Morpheus' plane again. The only way they can escape from the Sentinel robots is to activate the EMP. But to do that, you have to turn off the electrical connection of the whole plane. But Neo is still inside the simulation, so there is no way to turn off the electricity at this time. Meanwhile, Neo somehow evades Smith's attack and enters a building with Tank's guidance. The call from the tank in this build comes to room 303. But as soon as Neo enters room 303, the agents catch him and shoot him in the chest, ending Neo instantly. Meanwhile, the condition of the plane has worsened. Sentinel Rabola has started destroying everything on the plane. But as time passes, Trinity goes to Neo's body inside the plane and tells about a story that the fortune teller told her. Seeing as the prophetess said, Trinity will always love the savior. Also, Trinity has started to love Neo by this time. As Trinity continues to say these things, the Sentinel is about to finish the ship. But before that happens, Trinity gives Neo a lip kiss for that story. With that incident, Neo inside the Matrix starts to come back to life. When Neo tries to get up, the agents who see it start shooting at Neo again. But this time, in an unimaginable way, all of them stopped in front of Neo. With that, it is proven here that Neo is the true savior in the end, but at the same time, this simulation starts to look like a computer code, unlike what it used to look like to Neo. With that, Neo uses his new powers to finish off Agent Smith and immediately leaves for the real world. As soon as Neo comes to the real world, Morpheus activates the EMP and destroys all the Sentinel robots. At this moment, Neo, who is in the real world, opens his eyes. And then Trinity gives a lip kiss again, saying you are our savior. Anyway, after all this, the film ends when Neo finally continues the fight to free mankind from the slavery of AI.